We are the Sudanese Development Group and would like to construct a plan to develop Sudan. First, here's some background on the country. Sudan experienced civil war from 1955 to 1972 and later from 1983 to 2005. In 2005, the conflict came to a halt after the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, and as a result of the agreement, in 2011 a referendum was held in which 99% of southern Sudanese voters voted to part from Sudan, creating the country of South Sudan. As a result of secession, Sudan lost 75% of its oil sector and lost $50 billion, which was 26.25% of their overall GDP in 2012. Sudan's annual growth rate dropped from 5.2% in January 2011 to 1.9% in January 2012.
Our primary goal is to help Sudan become more self-sufficient by mitigating the losses in the oil sector with increased productivity in agriculture. To do this, we plan to establish a global partnership of trade to trade gum arabic, as Sudan is the leading producer in the world, as well as cash crops such as sesame, molasses, sugarcane, and cotton, which is the second highest earning crop. We also hope to invest in irrigation and infrastructure in efforts to ameliorate the state's economic well-being.
We would like to ask for $10 billion in funds for the Sudanese Development Plan, $3 billion towards upgrades in technology and basic needs, $2 billion towards the education of farmers, $2 billion towards the creation of an irrigation system, $1 billion towards the infrastructure of Sudan, and finally $1 billion into the development of genetically modified superfoods.
The $3 billion going into technology and basic needs will be used to purchase large quantities of seeds and modern farming technology to increase productivity and efficiency. For example, GPS-steered tractors can apply fertilizer and water with incredible precision, cutting down on wasted resources. Next, we will invest in the cultivation of wheat, as Sudan currently imports 2.2 tomes, which is equivalent to $1 billion US.
For the $2 billion dedicated towards education, we will invest money into teaching and incentivizing farmers to use new and more advanced farming techniques, such as crop rotation, as currently harvest is only in the summer months. Secondly, we will create a program to train people who are currently unemployed, which is roughly about 20% of the Sudanese population, to become farmers. After completion of the program, graduates will receive a sum of money and some land to jumpstart their transition into the farming sector.
Irrigation and transportation problems are currently holding Sudan's economy back. One of our initiatives is to create a local irrigation system based around the many lakes and rivers of Sudan. We also plan to work with the Gezira Board, which regulates the allocation of water from the Nile, as well as farmers, to help settle disputes and use the Gezira scheme to its full potential. The Gezira scheme, initiated by the British in the 1920s, is one of the largest man-made irrigation systems in the world, but has lost effectiveness through the years due to a lack of communication between the government, farmers, and the Gezira Board.
Sudan currently has 18.8 million hectares of arable land, but only 15 to 20% of it is actually cultivated. With the $1 billion put into infrastructure, we will use it to build roads to transport crops more easily and efficiently, and allocate money to fixing some of the current irrigation systems.
Using the $1 billion allocated to the research and genetic modifications, we will introduce super crops like the cassava root. The cassava root is cheap and can grow in harsh climates, but has much more vitamins than regular crops. It has also already been approved for trial in some African countries. We will also introduce selective breeding techniques to bring about desirable traits in livestock and other innovations such as artificial insemination and embryo transfer techniques. With this, we can increase the output of livestock and cut back on costs. For example, cows can be made to produce more milk and other livestock can be made to have more meat, yet be fed a third of what they usually require.
These are Sudan's problems. Let's knock them out of the park.
Thank you for watching, and please help us remedy and develop this broken land.